Hello there, and welcome to the Wandering Wolf YouTube channel. I'm your host, Mark Rhodes. Alongside me, as always, is my friend and fellow Wolves lifer, Mr. Craig Fullwood. How are you, sir?
Hello, Mr. Rhodes. Good to see you.
Loving
Good
it.
to see you.
Rocking out the retro Goodyear tyre track shirt.
Yeah.
Loving it,
Well,
mate. It is
they've
like
just,
Marmite. It's Marmite, that shirt.
They've re-released it today in the shop, so I thought
Why not?
bring it out.
Why not?
I'd bring it out. One of the best ones, in my opinion.
Okay. No, but whatever.
For another time. For another time.
Indeed, because unless you've been hiding under a rock somewhere, the European Super League has come and gone, and we thought it would be remiss of us to not speak to two fans who are actually part of the Big Six. And so we've got James on and we've got Alex on, who are Arsenal and Tottenham fans on. How are you doing, lads? You all right?
Very good, mate. Very good.
Yeah,
doing all right.
How you doing, boys?
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it, boys.
It's an absolute pleasure, lads. So I think we're doing this just after Alex's team, Tottenham, have just beat Southampton. So he's in a happy mood. He's all right. How are you feeling after that performance, mate?
Yeah, very good. Mason's undefeated.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll get the job and you'll leave Nuno alone. Stay away from him. But
He's not going to go to a smaller club, Rhodes.
Oh. So why we've obviously got you on here, lads, is because obviously the European Super League, it's been in the papers, it's been on the news, it's been absolutely everywhere. And obviously myself and Craig and numerous other Wolves fans can have an opinion on it, but we're not part of it. Like, we're completely out the loop. We're not part of the Big Six. So what I wanted to get from you is your thoughts on what you thought when you heard about it and what you thought when, well, it went down the pan very, very quickly. Let's go to James first. What did you think, mate, when you heard about the news?
Wow. So the news came around the time that Eddie Nketiah was scoring his last-minute goal at home against Fulham and was cupping his ear to celebrate. It was around then. I'm a big Twitter fan. I think I was on Twitter at the time. Yeah. And yeah, the two just kind of seem to, I'm going to say, contradict one another in a way. Here we are being invited to be part of Europe's elite, when in all reality, we are not. I have my own thoughts on the ESL, which I'm sure we'll get into. But for me, it's kind of like we were invited to a party that we shouldn't necessarily have been invited to. But I think for the owners, it's probably quite a hard proposition to turn down. And again, I'm sure we'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
Personally, yeah, I'm not a fan of the ESL, so I'm pleased that it's gone. But Jakey, I don't know if you agree or disagree.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm very glad it's been and gone. Very glad it's been gone. When it first got announced, I couldn't believe it. I didn't really. I actually still don't almost believe that they really wanted it to be a thing.
Yeah.
Is it a power play where actually they're just trying to get more money? Because realistically, it was very hard to believe that was going to be allowed to fly.
Playing devil's advocate, interesting to hear your points on it. Playing devil's advocate, as a Wolves fan, if we're off of that money, and obviously we are owned by a huge business, and they are a business. All these top clubs are a business. They need to make money. Did they not think that, especially English football fans, would be so vocal and so vehement in their hatred of this? And it was pure hatred of, basically what you said, James. It's a party and it's closed off and there's no competition. Like, did they take for granted that, there'd be a little bit of a storm in a teacup for a couple of days and then we can just carry on doing what we were doing? Do you think that's what happened?
From my point of view, I'm sure somewhere it's been said how long this has been, let's say, in discussion for. But to me, it's no coincidence that this has been announced whilst fans aren't allowed in stadiums.
Oh my God!
I think the reaction was to be expected, and if fans were allowed in stadiums, I think we would see on the terraces the reaction of the British public and the football fans. We're already seeing that. The scenes outside Chelsea with Petr Cech pleading with the fans. Arsenal have had a protest plan for Friday. There's still a protest plan for Friday against the Kroenkes, the owners. I think they fully expected a bit of a backlash.
I find it quite interesting that every English club has come out and said their piece and said we've got it wrong, except for Tottenham. Tottenham haven't come out and said anything, and I'm kind of I don't know why that is. Maybe I don't know Daniel Levy at all, but I would imagine he's quite a strong-minded character, and I would imagine that this really got his heart racing. I'm going to make a lot of money here. I'm going to make a lot of money, and we've said they are a business at the end of the day, so they are in it to make money. The fans, unfortunately, have been a secondary thought in that process, and now that they know 100% that it's not happening. But do you think Daniel's not a happy bunny at the moment?
Well, I think if you look at it from his perspective, he's obviously had a ridiculously hard year. We've just invested, £1 billion stadium. I'm sure that money's an issue. He probably has lost a lot of face about this. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear him say anything, just because it's probably a lot easier, and he'll hope that the story will go away. But yeah, if you just look at the money side, it made a lot of sense, I'm sure, for, if you're having to repay all of that money, you've got this £1 billion stadium that's sitting empty all the time. Like you said, if you look at it from a business perspective, it makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, if you just look at the very emotional response, I think it's very clear how the public felt.
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously seen the documentary about Spurs on Amazon. I mean, just knowing what I know of Levy purely from that, I mean, this sounds like it would have been right up his street, obviously with the stadium and everything. And like you say, it's very strange that he hasn't come out and said anything yet when all the other clubs have. And it's secondary strange to me that the timing of Mourinho's exit.
Yeah, I did think that. I did think that.
Do you think that is related?
I don't know. I don't think so. I just think Mourinho's doing a really bad job.
Well,
yeah. After watching Spurs week in, week out this season, I can safely say it must surely just be how terrible we've been playing.
Yeah, it does. It does seem a bit counterproductive, though. Like you've got a final to come. Maybe play at least the League Cup final before you start sacking people.
It's the guy who's really only claim to fame in the last couple of years is that he wins trophies. He was brought in to bring a silverware in any shape or form to that club. And 6 days before he's got the opportunity to do that, regardless of how he's performed really in the last couple of weeks, he's gone. It's so strange. I don't know if you know anything from being a fan yourself, but there's no way. It's very weird.
No way he's got like a trophy bonus or something like that, and Levy's looking to
imagine
that. He's got a £20 million payoff, hasn't he?
Oh my God, it's crazy.
What I heard was that he does have bonuses based on where we are in the league. So it's
I heard that.
Yeah,
so allegedly.
So where are they now? Sixth? The sixth now? Gone up to sixth? They've got to be aiming, especially now. Like, I know they've played a game extra than everybody else, but they've got to be looking top four, haven't they?
Yeah, I think that was always the plan. Like we need to get top four. I really worry about Harry if we don't get top four. I worry about Harry even if we do get top four.
Yeah.
So
hasn't he come out and said he definitely wants to go if it's not Champions League football next year?
What? Sorry, say that again.
I think I read somewhere, whether it's true or not, he said if he's not playing Champions League football next year, then he definitely wants to leave.
Looking at Alex's face, I don't think he's heard that.
sweating. He's sweating.
It's obvious anyway, right?
It reminds me of Bale the first time round all those years ago when you saw this player doing, well above and beyond the rest of the players. And when he did finally go, you didn't hold it against him because you knew that he was propping the team up.
Yeah.
So if Kane does go, obviously be devastated. It's hard to see how we're going to pick up if he's gone. But at the same time, I mean, a player like that who's doing what he's doing, I want him to win stuff.
Of course, yeah.
But obviously I want him to stay.
Yeah, you want him to win the trophies with Tottenham, but I just find it a bit, especially with him coming out on Twitter and he was basically gushing his love for Mourinho. And if he didn't like rate him, then I don't think he needed to say that, did he? Really?
Yeah, probably not. I'm sure that it's going to be hard. A lot of the players, not Kane, but a lot of the players let down Mourinho as much as anything.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult one. But I am definitely worried about what's going to happen at the end of this season.
And James, what do you think, from an Arsenal perspective? Because your season's been it's been up and down, to say the least. As an Arsenal fan, obviously you've given your point on the European Super League, but wouldn't that have been amazing for Arsenal to be in that Super League, playing against the likes of Real Madrid, Barcelona every week? I'm not picking a fight here. I'm just saying, you're in an elite competition, and with the squad that you've got at the moment, you probably aren't at that level, are you?
No, yeah. I mean, it's a good question. It's a good point. I think our only route to any success, tangible success this season, is through the Europa League, and that's for Champions League qualification. To be honest, that feels like a backdoor route that we do not really deserve. And I think probably most Arsenal fans would say at least our league position and our league play, at least pre-Christmas, does not warrant any kind of European qualification.
Yeah.
So for us, first of all, to be invited into the ESL almost feels like a bit like a cheat code, given that we are not part of Europe's elite right now, in all honesty. And even getting into the Champions League via the Europa League feels almost a bit like naughty, or almost a bit like we don't deserve it. If we do get to the final, and if it is against United, who in all likelihood will have sewn up Champions League qualification already, that is basically going to be an all or nothing game for us. Up until Christmas, we were horrendous. Every Sunday night, I seemed to turn on the TV and we're losing to Villa. I think we lost to you boys as well.
Yeah, you did.
Fortunately, 1-2 we managed to beat was Spurs. We don't have to hear about that Lamella goal ever again. Since Christmas, things have been a lot better. But I want to give Arteta, I think, the rest of the season and the summer. I think he deserves that, and he's shown that he has the tactical nous to be able to do it. There are a few things. His substitution timings aren't great. The Willian signing he pushed for, him and a couple of the hierarchy I think pushed for, and his insistence on playing Willian when he adds nothing to the team whatsoever is suspect. So there are a few things which I'm unsure about, but overall I'm coming around to this could be a season of transition for us.
I love that word, transition, because I feel as though we have said it so much on this channel. Transitional period, and to be honest, if you are going to have a transitional period, this is the season to do it with no fans, because fingers crossed, we go back to some sense of normality and we get a few fans back in the stadium next season. But what I did want to ask you guys is, from a Wolves perspective, I don't know how many games you've watched this season of Wolves, but I'd like to know who you rate in the Wolves team, who you would take, which players would make your team better. You don't have to say anyone if you don't think, but I just wanted to get your opinion on it, because as Wolves fans, me and Craig, we often talk about the fans getting on the back of Nuno. And it must be the same with every single club. If you're not winning every single game, it doesn't matter what club you are, you're going to get a backlash of some description from the fans. And like, on Twitter, it's crazy. Like
Mental.
the Nuno out brigade is unbelievable. Like we've got 2 7th places, a Europa League quarter-final and an FA Cup semi-final under our belt in the last 3 years, and some of the fans want him out. Is that the same type of thing that you get from Tottenham? Well, it definitely is with Tottenham because you've got rid of him. But with you know, like managers coming in and out like a swinging door, that can't be good for any team. Like I've asked you about 500 questions there. Sorry, but what I'm trying to get at is, if you would take any players from Wolves, who would you take? And I want to know from Alex especially, what manager is going to come into that club and do a job for you that Jose couldn't do?
So first, I'd take Neves.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I remember ages ago, it's quite funny because last season, whenever I watched Traore, I thought he was amazing, which is really interesting because he's like a powerful runner. And I'm not necessarily sure that all Wolves fans agree with that.
I think
no. I was going to say I'll drop
neither of us two do. Isn't that interesting though? Because
I'll tell you what, he is, or there is in there somewhere, or occasionally a fantastic player.
Yeah.
The issue is the consistency.
Yeah.
He does it in flashes and spurts, and that's not really what we need to take our team forward, which is where my negativity really comes from, I suppose.
Yeah,
he may well fit into another team better, and may, if he does move on, come and bite me in the arse. But
that's it.
I've watched enough of it now just to be like, we want to try something else. Where we always seem to be, we've always got the same plan A and plan B. They never change. So that's really.
Yeah.
But there's a player in there certainly, but it just never really comes out.
So you rate Neves and Traore then, Alex?
So I definitely rate Neves. Not so sure on Traore this season, but definitely last season I rated him every time that I watched him for sure.
Okay, interesting. What would you do if Nuno was in the frame for the Tottenham job? Be completely honest.
Yeah, no, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Would you?
Yeah, really happy with that. I think the results speak for themselves. You're not hitting quite the peaks that you were. But clearly he's a good manager.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that, and it's probably not hard, but I think there'd be more attractive football coming out than what we've been used to over the last year and a half. I think for me, that was the most difficult thing that, don't get me wrong, when Poch got sacked, the football we were playing then was difficult to watch. The whole thing was just getting more and more difficult. But what we've had under Mourinho has just been, at first it was working. At the early part of this season, you think, you know what, we're actually getting the results. This is exactly what you expect from a Mourinho team. It's not pretty, but you get results.
Yeah.
And at Christmas time, almost like the opposite to Bieber, it was kind of like, okay, well, we'll take this. And then all of a sudden, when we start losing, we're not getting results, and we're playing that badly week in, week out. That's just... Yeah, it's been really difficult. Really difficult.
What about you, James? What are your thoughts on out the Wolves team? Who would you say? Oh, they'd be good in the Arsenal squad, not even the team.
I know. I was just taking a look through your squad now, just to kind of think. Okay, well, I don't know, where do Arsenal need players?
Fair, yeah.
And where might that work? To address the Traore situation. I mean, I love him, and he's an absolute, he's a kind of a huge player physically, and he's got that pace behind him as well. Personally, I think he kind of bomb up and down the line, and he does definitely have good spells. But Arteta being very fixated on positioning and all of that, Traore strikes me as a bit more of, let's say, a chaos player where. He won't necessarily have a regimented position as such, and so I don't know whether Arteta could work with that. I saw a little bit of your young, I think he's centre forward. Is it Fabio Silva?
Yeah.
When he signed him a while back, and he looked quite exciting. And obviously we've got Aubameyang, but Aubameyang, his legs are Well, his legs are going a little bit, and he's only, he's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
Lacazette, there's talk about him potentially getting a new deal, but I'm against that. I would try and sell him if possible. And then we've just got Balogun and Nketiah, so 2 youngsters. So I think potentially to have another youngster kind of to learn at the club would be great. I'm a big fan of like Connor Cody as well. I think he's been a great leader for you boys.
Yeah.
At the same time, centre back wise, we are pretty stacked, and we're trying to get rid of centre back. So if anyone, well, I think we now got rid of Mustafi, but if anyone's a Mustafi or a Kolasinac, we'll do you a good deal. But for me, that kind of in a way speaks to, I think, the quality of Nuno in that there are a lot of good players there, but I do feel like Nuno makes them, the sum is greater than the past,
absolutely,
whatever it is. And he really kind of makes them tick. And so, I think probably keeping Nuno is probably one of the most important, let's say, bits of business for Wolves, really.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that neither of you said Raul Jimenez. So I'm just imagining it's maybe a good sign that he's been out.
And Neto, I'm really glad. I'm really glad nobody said Pedro Neto. I'm really glad.
We're not really used to being in this situation where, you've just asked the question about Harry Kane perhaps being unsettled or whatever, and we're thinking, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Jimenez would be a great fit. Please don't say that. Or let's have not any noise there. But and these things happen when you get to a certain level. These kind of things happen, and players, you want players to do really well for you, obviously, but there's always going to be an attraction there from the elite clubs.
How did you?
And then, but you just hit the nail on the head. Personally, there's a lot of people who disagree with this, but I think you're absolutely right that Nuno staying is the best bit of business that we could do.
How did you boys think Jota was going to get on at Liverpool? Have you been surprised by his success at all?
I'll tell you what, when Diogo Jota went to Liverpool, I thought it was great business for everyone. I really did. I know you were gutted, to be fair. I wasn't, because he wasn't getting any game time at Wolves. He was very hot and cold, and we got 45 million for him. Obviously in about 400 instalments, which is a bit daft on our part. But when he went there and he started scoring goals, I wasn't surprised, because I thought in a team like Liverpool, you are going to get more chances, and that's all he needs. He needs chances. But because of our counter-attacking style of play, he didn't get as many chances with the team that he was playing for. But I wasn't surprised. But if he's not getting in our 11 and Jurgen Klopp comes knocking on your door, you would be a fool to say no to that. So we weren't going to keep Jota, but it's the same thing with Doherty, really, and I'll be interested to see what Alex thinks of Doherty, because the system we've just said about Nuno's managerial prowess and the way he gets players to work to their full potential. Matt Doherty is a perfect example of that. It's the right system that we play. He fit so well into that system. He went to Tottenham. He wasn't used to that system. He's playing with probably, let's be honest, better players, but the system is wrong for him, and that's why he's not shining at Tottenham. I don't know what you think about it, Alex, but that's what, when I ever watch Spurs play and I'm watching Doherty play, it's like, well, he don't get there usually. He don't get there. He's not there,
Yeah, it's honestly, it's been a bit painful watching him play. But to be fair, at the same time, it's not like it's just him. Our whole defense has been pretty terrible all year. Yeah. So he's just another one of the defenders who aren't playing well at all.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you something. If you had told me at the beginning of the year that Aurier was going to be a dead cert start over him, I wouldn't have believed you at all.
Wow. Was it that bad?
Yeah.
Did Doherty and Mourinho not get along either? Is that another reason? Seems to be some friction there.
I think with Mourinho, he's got his guys, and when you've got his trust, he'll play you.
Yeah.
And I just think he lost all faith, to be honest. I mean, look at what has happened with Dele. I mean, he barely gets any time, let alone sub appearances. He often doesn't even make the squad. So I think it's more that rather than anything else. I think he just, after a while, he just doesn't trust him anymore.
So interesting, because I'll tell you what, I'd take Dele Alli in a heartbeat. I'd take Eric Dyer in a heartbeat. Yeah, I would, mate.
Would you?
I really would, mate. I really would. Tell me how you really feel, Craig.
If you spout any more nonsense like that, I'll be coming straight down to Twickenham and say to your face.
Do you really? Why?
Jesus,
What?
Please
Why?
stop talking right
Why?
now.
Why?
They just no, don't.
No.
keep
Wait,
trying.
no, to both of them. To both.
Yeah,
or just,
absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I don't rate either.
Wow. Okay.
No, not for me. Not for me.
Interesting.
Dele in form is.
Yeah, he's a great player.
Yeah. He's just.
I just don't like him. Don't like him at all.
Yeah, but that's. I don't like him. I don't like him as a guy, but I think as a player, he offers something.
Yeah, I think like when you want to go to that next level, because for me, there's 3 levels. There's your Real Madrid, there's your Barcelona, Man City, Man United, and then there's for me personally, there's Arsenal, Tottenham, probably I'd say. Liverpool, I'll put them. I wouldn't even put them in the top for me. And then you've got teams like us going to that next level. So you've got your Harry Kanes and stuff. They want to go to. He'll probably end up at Real Madrid. He'll probably end up at Real Madrid. They usually do from Tottenham, don't they? So he'll probably go to Real Madrid. Like basically, Wolves players go on to the next level. And your players go on to and Arsenal are the same though. You know, it happened with Thierry Henry, didn't it? You know, he went to Barcelona. I wouldn't say that he was probably at his peak at Barcelona. For me, I thought his peak years were at Arsenal. But you get all these different players for different clubs, and who knows when the best time to move on is? You know, who knows with Harry Kane? You know, who knows with Raul Jimenez if he goes? Like, will he stay?
I mean, do you boys think, given the current circumstances, pandemic and all, I've heard various people say that it's going to be let's make sure I get this right, a seller's market in terms of the seller can dictate the price, and the buyer, cash is not flush at the moment. No one's got a lot of revenue coming in. Hence, I think why the ESL again was seen, particularly by, let's say, clubs who have got a lot of financial issues, like Real Madrid, like Barcelona, like Arsenal.
Yeah,
there's potentially this kind of get out of jail cards. So Levy, shrewd negotiator that he is, he can set a price for Kane, but it's going to be quite hard for clubs to stump up a decent amount of cash.
True. If the European Super League would have happened, then maybe they could have sold sell Robbie Keane as well. Another Wolves Tottenham classic. But with Kane, you're so right there, James, about the money side of things, because why they did the European Super League for me is that they've literally sucked all the resources out of Europe dry, and they wanted to go to the Asian market, didn't they? Because there's more, it's just you just want to corner a certain market, but they just completely forgot about the fans and the way the fans would respond to the lack of competition, really.
I saw a good point made earlier on a different channel, and it was basically saying, these mainly American businessmen owners, they want to go and be playing, Barcelona against Man United in New York.
Yeah, franchise football
on a Monday night, and then over in Qatar on a Thursday night. Man United against Liverpool, let's say.
Absolutely.
And then off to China or Japan or somewhere, that's absolutely.
It's just not feasible.
Happen. It just can't happen.
No. It's like one of them fantasy friendlies that they have, like these mega tournaments, like in July before the actual season starts.
It sounds good and it sounds sexy and it's got all the elements, but really it's worthless and meaningless.
I agree.
And where they keep saying, but there's going to be so much money. There's going to be so much money. Where from? Because who's going to be interested in that? They might be interested for a season or one league, and then it'll be like, that again.
Yeah.
I think it'd soon die a death anyway, even if it happens. So very surprised, really. Just wanted to ask. Well, carry on.
No, I was going to say you've got two American owners, and the NFL and the Football League in America. They're used to not having relegation. That's normal. That's how it works. So I think that they just don't have the same appreciation for what it brings to the table, the excitement of having that kind of tournament, essentially.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me from them, but it therefore does surprise me from others because Nick Levy should know better.
Absolutely. What do you think is going to happen with the owners going forward now? Do you think, and what's going to happen with the Big Six? Do you think there's going to be repercussions? Is there going to be points deductions? Is there going to be fines given out? Because what my issue with that is that you're hurting the wrong people there. You're not hurting the owners. You're hurting the fans. But saying that, it has happened in the past where, Sheffield Wednesday have got massive points deductions. Bolton have had massive points deductions, and that's not the fans' fault. So does it matter because of the stature of the club, that we should change the rules for them?
Well, I certainly hope there's not going to be any repercussions.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, as a Wolves fan, I personally don't think that there should be any points deductions. I think that's a bit like, what is the point of that? Because, if you knock 20 points off each of the teams, City will probably win the league anyway. So do you know what I mean? It doesn't really matter. Like, none of this really matters. But what really matters is that there should be some legislation put in place that this can never, ever, ever happen again, and the fans don't have to cause uproar. It must be like, it's a common sense thing. It's like, there's got to be competition in the game for it to thrive. So hopefully, fingers crossed, going forward, it will. Yeah.
One of my mates sent around a message earlier, which I quite liked, which was like, potentially talking about financial penalties, points deductions, etc., or like banning clubs from Europe, like the Champions League, like Arsenal. And I was like, well, we've kind of banned ourselves from it for the last 2 years anyway. So do your worst. For me, I don't think there should be points deductions. And again, like Alex, I hope there aren't. I think the other 14 Premier League clubs are well within their right to push for that. But at the same time, I think it's come and it's gone, and it's kind of within 2 days, it's kind of it's been quashed. Had it gone further and they'd actually started like getting into looking at preparations for how to do the league and looking at kickoff times and stuff like that.
Yeah,
again, I've seen people suggesting, well, if the club have got an ESL game on Tuesday night, schedule a Premier League game for Tuesday morning for them, just to kind of mess them about.
I think
the clubs would deserve that, because again, if you're making it a members club and you like only those who have rich and greedy owners are invited, and it is exclusive, and there's no other way for other people to get in, then that's not fair. That's not equitable. Other clubs don't deserve that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I hope there aren't deductions, but if the other 14 pushed for it, I could see their point of view.
Interesting. Well, we could talk about this for hours and hours, lads. I've got to say, thanks ever so much for coming on. It's been fascinating to have a different perspective on things. And cheers, lads. And you've been watching Wandering Wolf.